more and more I think about it, it's about being a man of your word. So you have to, well, what does that mean? Is a good peanut butter and jelly saying, or Jordan B. Peterson saying is, well, what does that mean? Well, if you want to be a man of your word, you have to think about your words and not just be saying your words and saying yes, sure, or whatever, committing to things you can't. So you have to monitor your words and be thoughtful about it and be diligent, do your due diligence about it. And then you will see. And so once you realize, because you're getting chaos, you're born into chaos, and then all of a sudden when you come back to where you start to realize these fundamental truths, you wish you could start on like a blank slate. I wish I could have a clean slate, but that's not true, because in art class, instead of giving you a clean slate, they should give you like a dirty napkin to do art, because when you realize something, you realize what you've done wrong. You've realized you look at yourself in the video instead of looking at the camera, right? You realize you do things wrong, and the important thing is, if I look like this, but if I look like this, it looks like I'm looking down on you. The important thing is you have to realize how to, scrape off the muck. Maybe there's mustard on the dirty napkin, but you have to just wipe off the napkin, let it dry, come to it, and organize that system. And eventually that napkin will be clean, and you'll realize, instead of picking up the napkin to, hey, instead of picking up the napkin, you will start ordering the right supplies so that you can have that clean slate. But oftentimes we are handed this clean slate, which I believe turns us into this idea of we have to have a clean slate, but usually you're when you realize something, it's stepping out of the mud, wiping your shoes off, then starting over. But then you realize that you want to go back into the mud, and then constantly getting out of that mud. So that process of organizing yourself so that you can have the systems in place to realize that that's not a clean paper, that's not the right paper. Maybe it's a different thing at all. Maybe it needs to be an electronic thing. But so the whole concept is, you need to realize that you need to work with what you got, be true to your word, work it back so that your word can start having value, because that's what it's about, value creation. And I know that I'm only doing this to my phone. This is for the future me, that I can put it to the world and formulate my message over video, because I want to type it down, but that's too slow. And then eventually I have to review these, or just put them here and then recall them, so then I can review them. Because the value in this is nothing until it's spread. Eventually this will be seen, or the idea of it will be seen. So be a man of your word, be a person of your word. Man means person, right? So get that out of your way. So be a man of your word, and start realizing the dirty napkin and what you can do to clean that napkin, and then what you can do to go to the next step to get a better piece of paper. And then you can start drawing art. Oh, that's a lizard. That was cool. Hey, buddy. He's blended into his environment. I don't know if you saw that, but you gotta watch out for snakes. All right, peace, man. And you have to realize that you're also a hypocrite in yourself, and there's reasons and you don't have to explain yourself. But another thought process that I have is that you tell the audience, the audience that you're telling your message to, and you have to realize that you're not always going to do the same thing that you're telling your audience. I'm not a kid, so for instance, I'm an inventor. I've invented things, and so part of me is you realize the game you're playing you can get squashed. There's whatever. There's multiple ways to think of this. You can get squashed, so you have to protect one area that, and maybe this is it, but you have to protect one area, and this is just the path I had to choose, because I chose it too late, right? I didn't plan about it, but the whole idea is patents versus open source. Time and energy. I decided to dedicate all this time and energy. So now I'm like, maybe it's smart to protect myself so I can valuate, so then I can bring more value to people because I'm putting the money in myself and the valuation of myself, my invention. However, I know that I have a billion different ideas, close to a million different ideas of what to do, but I don't have the time and energy. So maybe that's the stuff I outsource. And so that's the whole key, is sometimes you have to do different things of what you say. Like if I recommend, hey, and maybe that is me saying exactly what I'm meaning to say, is you have to weigh the cost, you have to count the cost. And you have to, once you count the cost, realize that, hey, it might be better to open source a project or patent a project. It might be better. So, but 9 times out of 10, it's better to open source a project than, hide it unless you plan to use it. So, and plan, because, if you want to build your character, defense may be your strength, or offense may be your strength, but they all have different weaknesses, and it's just building characters. So that's the whole point. Defensive strategy, turtle shell, and usually 9 times out of 10 it's just like you have to defend one side but be agile enough to get out of it. It's just the model you make. But if you're that type of person, you're a rabbit. I've got speed, I've got agility, I've got bounce. Be the rabbit. If you're the turtle, I've got slowness, I've got steadiness. Be the turtle. But we all know that story. But the rabbit was living too, so it's not like they're both dead. They both are crucial parts of the story. If the rabbit wasn't lazy, the rabbit would win. So maybe that's just a better lesson you should take. So take care of yourself. Be a person of your word.